Hey everybody, it's me, it's Michael B. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Monday night. I'm going to do my absolute best to entertain you as much as I possibly can, so medium entertainment level. That's what you can expect tonight. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I've got a post or poll up in the chat that I want to throw up there right now. I know Monday's not the best night. Looks like WWE is starting to get really interesting again. Plus we got Monday Night Football during the football season, so I'm going to put it out there. Would you guys like me to possibly move away from having my show Monday nights and move it to a different night of the week? Maybe I'll move to Sunday. Well, that's not going to help with the football stuff, is it? But anyways, let me know in the comments. Do you think I should stay on Monday or move to another night? I would appreciate your feedback on that. On top of that, tonight's episode is all about me eating crow and explaining to you why I received 2 Arcade1Up XL cabinets today, one being Golden Tee 3D and the other one being NBA Jam XL. You know, all the XL cabinets that are out right now. Is bigger better? You know, have I overcome some of the issues with the screen quality? Maybe the wrong art on NBA Jam? What the hell am I thinking? And am I trying to get divorced? What was my wife's reaction? We'll tell you more about it right after this. So guys, first things first, I want to bring up the chat. I've got some questions to ask people here, and I want to say hello to everybody here in the chat. One Up Kyle, unfortunately, isn't going to be with us. It sucks missing your Monday night show, but he's got to watch football. He doesn't want to lose his man card, so there we go right there. Matt Asher Gaming with my favorite comment, I came to see your jumbo package, so I responded with, that's what she said. Dan Z is here. What's happening, Dan? King Midas, I trust everybody is golden. Perry Chan, or I'm going to say Pierre Chan, looking forward to the show. Cheers. Thank you very much. Joey Hansen, 904. Hi, everyone. Endless One Up. You did it because they are fun, right? And I like the quality of the wood, Endless One Up. Carlos Sanchez, see you guys soon. Hey, yo. Fist.ca. Thanks very much. Hopsy66. Charlie Chuck. I had to actually pull this one out of Held for Review. Yes, F Risers to Hell. I know how long Charlie's been waiting to get rid of that. Bobby Timpson, Console Fanboy, did a hilarious interview with John D yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, they're fake interviews. Us Canadians know Weird Al used to do them on Much Music here all the time. I think they're hilarious. Let's see. Jason says, hi, everybody. Chris Langlos, 93. Chiropractor recommended it, didn't it? Yeah, sometimes those smaller cabs. I've actually, Chris, I'm going to be honest with you. I've moved completely to stools at this point. Music Mike, JR, Rainwater Games. I have a huge apology to make to Rainwater. While I was at the event for the iArcade stream, I got pulled into the stuff outside, and Jeff had made some comments on community posts that I took completely the wrong way, and I was a dick, so I'm very sorry, Jeff. I'm glad we had a chance to talk it out. Hopefully we're cool. We'll take your one-up confessions here, Michael. Thank you very much, JJ. Sterling Hall, I finally got my Dragon's Lair from the brick today. Sterling, I am still patiently waiting. Unfortunately, the distributor doesn't ship directly to Newfoundland anymore, so it has to go to the warehouse in Nova Scotia, and then it's going to get shipped here. So end of the month, I'm patiently waiting for my Dragon's Lair as well. Terry Mobley, what's happening? Scott Lee, Bill's Retro Gaming Show, Maximum Effort, Wild Bill, Garage Gamer, what's happening? Happy cabs are here today. I was so excited. Getting 2 cabs at once is quite the big day. Chucky Shea, what's happening, brother? Old Blue Eyes, Koja Jangles, Mondays are fine with me. Michael B needs one of those bit LCD on the Act Games behind him. Yeah, Jason, I got to tell you, those look pretty sweet, man. You actually can't buy them here in Canada, so unless Act Games sends me one for review, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get one because they just aren't available. Good evening, everyone. Hey, Michael B, we got our Dragon's Lair cabinet on Saturday. Everybody's getting Dragon's Lair. It's killing me. Teed Up Pinoy 13, Tuesday or Wednesday. Yeah, maybe that's where I'll go. I saw one from... Weird Al's my spirit animal. Matthew C says Monday is fine. I have 2 TVs. Charlie Shuck earlier said he was watching football and watching this on his TV. Who's the better Spooner, Kong, or Console Kits? I gotta go with console kits because, Kong was very excited to do it. Console kits wasn't really into it, and it's his fear that made the spooning better. I was just thinking I should get Golden Tee 3D. Well, Scott Lee, I'm going to tell you more about that. JT Game says, sup fam. Papa Brad's Gaming. What's happening, Papa Brad? Nate Dog. I know I'm going through all these. I apologize. Joe Linwood. Console Kits. Do you know a way to survey people that don't watch live because they are busy watching football? I don't know. That's a good point. Digipunk Sam's is not only getting Blitz, Sam's already has Blitz, and it has a stool. Has to go to Middle Earth, then to Canada for arcades. Thank you very much, Hobby Hands. I like the sizes of the XL cabs, but they shouldn't have to sacrifice monitor quality. Completely agree. I've got a feeling this is the last of the XLTN monitors. We won't get any more, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that may surprise you about this with me, why I'm taking a back step on the TN monitor stuff. I'll explain it in a bit. David H. Michael B. It jumped down. Please keep the show on Mondays. We lost P-Dubs. Can't lose you two. You'll never lose me. Just got my pre-order email from Best Buy. Nice. Yeah, Bit LCD should come as LV. Stay on Mondays. Christopher Boyce, good evening. Endless One Up, good to know Mike B about the spoon. Digipunk, you can watch football while watching Michael B. I like it. All right, I think we're through, everybody. So, guys, a really, really big show tonight. I have to eat crow. You guys have been watching me for the last little while. And for a very long time now, I have, been pretty aggressive towards the Arcade1Up XL cabinets. Now, part of the reason why is I'm looking at this and I'm trying to provide constructive feedback for things they can improve or, reasons why you guys shouldn't buy the cab. And I'm not saying it's a piece of shit, don't ever get it. I'm saying if these are things that concern you, please be aware of this. So one of the things that came up was we found out with this new 19-inch screen that the monitors were going to be TN as opposed to BOE, an IPS screen. So we were concerned about the quality, and unfortunately, once people started getting their Golden Tee cabs, we noticed that there was some issues with washout as you get to certain sides. What we found out since then is that these screens are edge-lit, and they seem to be only really edge-lit from one side. So it's been a bit of a problem with the 19-inch screens. Now, I know B. Kong said when he saw NBA Jam and when he saw Golden Tee, he said it's playable as long as you're directly in front of it. And everybody that's bought one pretty much says, yeah, if I'm playing directly in front of it, it's fine. I don't really care. The issue really comes with, and same with Mortal Kombat, when you move away from a little bit or when you stand up or get low at high angles. These aren't playing angles. These are angles that you would see the cabs from on different sides, and there's no way to get around it. The picture sucks at those angles. It's shit. Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Awesome meeting you, brother. You were so much fun. You were so kind, so generous. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. And thank you so much for the hat and sweater. I grabbed a pic of the sweater on my wife yesterday who actually wore it out to the store, but she won't let me post it because she didn't have makeup on. I'm so horrible. 19K Fox says, not playable. I know. 19K Fox, actually, he offered me, he said if I went out and got the Golden Tee 3D, he'd send me a monitor. You don't have to do that. And I want to go back to that. So the monitor has been a big issue. And especially if you guys watch my Mortal Kombat, Arcade1Up Mortal Kombat 30th review, you'll know I don't like that monitor much either. But I just recently found out something that made me change my opinion on a little bit of the monitor. I'm going to show this message, even though it was said not to show up. Big B73, stop buying cabs with shitty monitors. Yeah, that's the thing. If you are upset about the monitor, don't buy the cabinet. With me, something changed, and I'll show you why here now. So I'm going to clear this out. I'm going to bring up something I want to show you guys. But first off, I want to show you this adorable picture of my daughter this morning when she actually picked up the cabinet. So this is my screen share. So this is my daughter today. When the guy came from UPS, dropped off the cabinets, he actually dropped off Golden Tee first. And I was like, thanks, man. And he was like, hold on, there's one more. So he came back with the second cabinet, and my daughter went out and wanted to get a picture with it. So there's the adorable picture of my daughter. And it's always exciting. I mean, getting one package is exciting. Getting two packages, super exciting. But I wanted to show you this picture first. So this was my morning this morning. I will tell you, I'm not very far in the process past that. It's been a busy day, even though it was a holiday here in Canada because of the Queen's death. At some places, I still had a bunch of stuff to do, like personal stuff and work stuff. So I have the base built of my NBA Jam cab. That's about it right now. But here's what I wanted to show you. So on my Mortal Kombat 30th cabinet, if you guys follow me on social media, I actually completely rearranged my arcade the other night, and I didn't do it. Usually when I do this stuff, I do it for looks and what I want to be weird for the ambience of the cabs. But I actually went about it a little bit different this time. I went from an ergonomic standpoint, and the reason I did it, I'm going to be doing a video on this, on how to set up your game room the best way possible. How I did it was I had to move Big Blue to a place where the controller would actually be, see if I got a picture. So, well, there's a video I took there the other night, but I'll just show you this. So here's the thing. I had to move to Big Blue to a place in the arcade room where basically it wouldn't be inhibited by another arcade, because I have so many arcades in the small space. I have 19, including the pinball table, 18 without it, and they're all jammed, pretty much packed tight together in order to fit everything in there. So what I was noticing was I was playing Big Blue, and where the control panel's a little lower and slanted, I couldn't comfortably control it because my hand was always jammed up against another arcade. So I wanted to put Big Blue on the side, and then there was a space directly next to it. So I decided, you know what would look good there? Mortal Kombat, of course. But then I discovered there's another really good reason for putting Mortal Kombat in that space, which I want to go back to the other video here and show you, was Mortal Kombat only looks shitty from one side, and it's actually when you're looking at it from the left. So where it was previously in my arcade, I mean, it was glaring. It was everywhere. You could see the washout on the screen. It looked like shit. I hated it. But when moved to this direction, because it's like basically the second one over from the wall, it's still comfortable to play for two players because the pinball machine's moved over enough, so it's not jammed directly up against a wall. But there's no viewing angle that's bad. Like, I'll just play the video here so you guys can see for yourself. Sorry, it doesn't look that great, but you can notice no matter where I go or what angle I'm looking at there, I don't get the same washout as I get on the left side. So that's the thing with these horrible TN monitors. I'm not excusing them or saying that Arcade1Up did a good job. They look fine when you're directly in front of them, like you can see here. And if you're one of the people like me who gets bothered when you're looking at them from a distance or on angles and stuff like that, you just got to find the sweet spot where you won't see the degradation. And that's what kind of changed my mind a little bit on the XL cabs as well, because sure, there's viewing angles where those monitors aren't going to look well, but while you're playing directly in front of them, yeah, they're okay. I'm not giving them an excuse here. They should never put these monitors in these cabs, but you can live with them if you find the right sweet spot to put them in your arcade so they don't look shitty, and you're just going to play them directly in front. So that's my mindset. That's the sweet spot I got to find with these XL cabinets. And the feedback I got from everybody who has them, they love them. I've got to play a Golden Tee before. I thought that was pretty dope. So yeah, here we are. There's another reason too I'll get to in a second, but I want to bring up the chat and get some of your feedback. And I'm sure most people are like, shut up, Mike. FOMO got to you. Admit it. That's part of it. I mean, come on. It's me. Arcade1Up releases an XL brand, and I'm sitting on the sidelines the whole time. You know that was killing me. Come on. Yeah, Kongs R Us knows it right here. Say it with me. It's playable. It's not perfect, but it's playable. TM Monitor is courtesy of Shitty Monitor Co. in China. Yeah, I agree. From what I understand, I think we've seen maybe the last of the TN monitors. That's my hope. But in terms of these, they're not that bad. Now, I also had to divulge, there's another reason why I have these two cabinets now, why I thought now was a good time to jump in. So, I'm going... There it is, Music Mike. I found a great spot for my MK against a right wall. That's fine. Exactly. If you put it in the right spot, you can't notice how shitty it is. Anyways, so for the XL cabs, I'm going to give you guys revelation, the other reason why this all came about now. So, I have never ever received a review cabinet from Arcade1Up. but an opportunity came up a little while ago for me to get a review cabinet. And I was given a list of cabs that I could choose from, and I decided, hey, you know what? I can't even get NBA Jam XL Shaq Edition here in Canada right now because it's not available yet. There's not a ton of reviews out there. You know what? I want to go with NBA Jam XL. Now, I already had an NBA Jam, so it wasn't it's not like I needed it to play the game, but I did want to see what it was like. As much as I was, critical of the screen, as much as I was critical of the art, the opportunity came up to review it, and I said, let's give it a fair shake. Let's try it out and see what it's like. So that came up, and I also thought about it then, too, and I was like, you know what? If I'm going to get Shaq XL, I might as well jump in on Golden Tee as well. And a lot of you guys know here in Canada, it's been on sale recently, so it was a really good time to jump in on the XL side. So that's the thing. I'm super excited. Arcade1Up reached out to me and gave me an opportunity to do review cab. It's been, not because I need a free cab, obviously I can buy them all myself, but it's a personal goal as someone who does this on YouTube for a company to reach out and say, hey, we think enough of you that we'd like you to review our product for us. So that's, dream achieved. So I'm very happy with that. And I get to try out this cab. Stringer Film says, my fantasy team is shit, so any day works for me. Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Stringer Films. So, the opportunity came up to get both these cabs. Then there's the other reason about form and functionality. And the thing is, I'm in the process right now of, I have an overflow space. So I've already had a Golden Tee. I've already had an NBA Jam cab. In fact, I'm on my second NBA Jam 3/4 scale cabinet. And the thing was, I got rid of those cabinets because I just ran out of room in my normal arcade. Like I said, my maximum occupancy or at maximum capacity is 19 cabs. I'm at 19 cabs, and I hate running into the situation of buying something so I have to lose something else. So I ran into a situation where I could open up some space in my basement, and I have an overflow room. But the overflow room is really partially a kitchen or wet bar, so it's kind of still an entertaining space. So I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? This is where I'm going to have people having drinks. This is more of a bar scene. This would be a perfect space for bar games. So when the opportunity came up to get the NBA Jam cab for review, and then opportunity came up to get a Golden Tee cab, I was like, what better games to be in the barcade overflow area than two of the most prolific bar games I remember growing up, and why I've said all along, the perfect XL cabinets. So there we go. Monorail! My buddy Mr. Dude 206. Love that guy. Stringer Films. Rainwater Game says, yeah, well, my real team is shit, so it could be worse. Turn Arcade says, build a shedcade. Trust me, you'll love it. I know. Still waiting for cabs in the bathroom. I don't have 4 locations for cabs, Justin. I have 3 locations. And now when I get these 2 cabs built, I'll show off the overflow space finally. So it's a bar area. And then there's another side to this too. You guys all know I'm in the process of looking at getting a real pinball table. Now, if anybody has ever been around a real pinball table, they're giant. I'm obviously not going to put a real pinball table in with my Arcade1Up 3/4, or as I call it now, mini arcade. But you know what? The XL cabs are actually closer to the size of a real cabinet, so they would look more normal in a space where you all of a sudden have XL cabs and a pinball table. So the idea is this is going to be my bigger space. This is where my real pinball table is going to go, and my 2 sports cabs, and maybe future XL cabs until eventually maybe I'll replace them all. Tyler V says, hey Game Genie, I had to hand it to you. Thanks for bringing the Sin and Light Guns to iArcade. Apologies, I've been busy, but I am so psyched. Can't thank you enough, brother. Well, I didn't personally do it, Tyler, but I thought of you the minute it came out. I was at the iArcade party talking about how you always mention me and the Sin and Light Guns. I didn't do anything. The thanks all goes to Glenn and the iArcade team. They're the ones that made it all happen. It's just... It was like like sitting there like a big sticker on the face. You knew Glenn was working with iArcade building accessories. He announced he had just secured a license for light guns with Sinden. I mean, it was just straightforward. So I'm glad that it's out there, and I'm glad you guys can enjoy it. So that's the idea. Like, I'm looking to basically have big machines in this overflow space with a real pinball table. Eventually, Frogger's going to say goodbye. And maybe as time goes on, I'm going to start getting Pro cabinets. I'm going to start getting XL cabinets. And they'll move into the regular Genie Cade, and I'll swap things out. If you go back to when we first started talking about the, reveal of the XL and Pro cabs, I mean, that was the conversation we were all having. Like, I know a lot of people sold off their entire 3/4 scale Arcade1Up collections to move into the Pro and XL space, and we're patiently waiting for these to come out. So, I had this great opportunity, which I'm very, very proud of, and I don't take lightly. Like, I had an opportunity to get a review cab, and I picked the one that I was the most excited about. Like, there is good reviews out there for NBA Jam Shaq already. Go view them if you want to, but know that I'll have one coming around the corner, and it's going to be honest. If you guys watch my Mortal Kombat 30th anniversary review, you'll know I love Arcade1Up, but I also don't love it enough not to come out and tell people when something is wrong, because I want the product to be good for everybody, and I want to buy a product I'm happy with, so that's the plan. I don't want to tell you it's going to be an honest review. I hate that. I hate having to provide that, piece out there, but just I'll give it my best shot to give you a good review that, I'm going to say it. But anyways, there you go. Music Mike says, I have to admit, I still love the riser. So easy to move stuff around and better for homes with smaller spaces. Yeah, I get that. I am worried about that. I'm building my NBA Jam currently in my actual arcade on carpet, and I've got to move it out to the overflow space, so that's going to be tough. I can't believe you got the Shaq-tastic crap cabinet that you talk so much crap about. Vasel, I just told you, I had an opportunity to get a review cab, and I wanted to take this opportunity to give it a fair chance. I think if you've been paying attention to Arcade1Up, Art Davidson, one of the big things with that is they've slowed down production across the line, whether that be costs associated with everything going on right now, shipping issues. Seems like they're trying to offer less product going out, and focusing more on very specific, as opposed to like the last couple of years, it's been bam, 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 so much stuff coming out. Now it's a more direct focus with only a few releases. This is more like Wave 2 and Wave 3, where it's a focused approach instead of let's see how much we can put out in the market. And I think Arcade1Up will have a longer shelf life for that. It just sucks because we're all waiting so patiently for them to come out with all these XL and Pro cabs, right? When will the construction start on the home expansion? I'm trying to convince my wife that we need to move to a larger house. I'll get back to you on that at Stringer Films. Thank you so much for the super chat, brother. Give one of those reviews P-Dubs love. Yeah, I agree. Console Kids. Review title idea. At least I didn't pay for it. Yeah, that was in the interview that B-Kong did with... Jeez, who was he talking to at that Shaq event? I think it was... Oh, I can't remember the guys from Arcade1Up's name. John D's buddy, Cyrus. And Cyrus said, right now the plan for XL was sports. But I know for a fact that sports is the plan for XL right now. That doesn't mean sports is going to be the plan for XL in the future. I think the focus right now on XL and Pro is XL is sports, Pro is fighter. But, things change. Like, we've heard rumors about either an XL or a Pro Star Wars cabinet, and they don't fit into either of that category, but trust me, it's going to happen at some point. I think all this stuff's going to happen in the future. Thank you very much, Kong Zeros. I apologize. If we were caught up, we could do this. Just bought the MK30th. Well, Garrett gets high. I'm going to do this for you because I want to make sure you have a good experience with it. I'm going to put this back on. I advise you, put it against a wall at this angle, or at least close to a wall, so you can never see the degradation or washout from distance in your arcade. That's my advice to you, man. And again, I'm hoping to find the same sweet spot with these Arcade1Up cabinets. I've played Golden Tee sitting in front of it, and the experience was good. Standing in front of it, the experience was good. I'm excited to see what the NBA Jam's like. I think I actually have the first one in Canada, believe it or not. Somehow, I have the first NBA Jam Shaq edition in Canada, despite it's been out for how long now? It came out like 2 months ago in the US, so yeah. All right, so I've left this up 26 minutes. I never usually leave the polls up this long, guys, so I'm going to close that out, and if I can ever get my mouse over here, I will find out what the end result was. So, poll says 153 votes, 68% says no. Chillin' Chat stays on Monday nights. Sorry, football fans. I'll have to catch football on the replay myself, and hopefully you guys like it. So, now I got to figure out how to close the poll. End poll. There we go. Endless One Up says, it seems the XL cabs have the same control panel height as cabs with risers. Yeah, that's true. And, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You want your cabs to have control panel heights at a reasonable level. Like, there's some of the new cabs where, they've put in these side panel extenders, and they're great. But then the control panel's up a little high. Like, I find Killer Instinct's control panel to be up a little higher than I would like. So I'm excited to see what they do with the Pro cabinet when that's released. And it's not canceled, trust me. Isn't wrestling on Mondays too? It is, and it's starting to get good again. Triple H is doing some good stuff. Not so much the Braun Strowman stuff. I wasn't in love with that. I got to see how that plays out. But, I have always loved NXT. I have a lot of trust in what Triple H's vision is. He seems to be a really big fan of mid-80s NWA, early 90s WCW, and that's my sweet spot for wrestling too. So I love that he's implementing some of those ideas, and I'm excited to see where the product's going. It's been surprising lately how much I'm starting to pay more attention to WWE after years and years of not doing it. Mike Hockhurt says, Monday night would not be the same without Michael B. the Game Genie. Thank you very much, brother. Pliskins Round says, I don't watch football anymore. Got too political. I'm very much a fair weather fan. I just watch and enjoy it. I don't really care what happens. Of course, I want my Green Bay Packers to win, but seems like they find a way to lose every year. Isn't the new Quantum Leap on Mondays too? No! I was hoping, guys, before I did this episode tonight, I would have these cabinets built, but unfortunately, things didn't agree, and I didn't get them done, so I could give you more information on my early thoughts on the cabinets, especially in their space, at least have some footage of that, but I unfortunately don't. But what I do have, and what I do want to share with you, is I do have a little bit of footage of my very messy right now overflow space that I want to show you and where they're going to go. And honestly, you guys are going to see how bad it is. I'm in the process of selling off some old games right now to get ready for pinball. But you can see my MVSX there. There's Frogger. Frogger's never going to leave. And there's my NBA Jam. I'm just going to keep it long enough to do my review on the NBA Jam XL cabinet. I want to, contrast and compare them for people. I think that's an interesting way to look at it too. I don't need to sell it right now. I'm not in a financial crunch where I need to. So I can keep the NBA Jam regular cabinet right now and actually do a compare and contrast in my review and show people the differences between size and stuff like that. And if you're interested in possibly upgrading your regular NBA Jam to an XL cab, if you should do it, that's just an interesting thing I thought of. But, I still got all the footage from my original NBA Jam review, so I could just use that. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I love Frogger too. I don't ever want to let Frogger leave. The only thing is, I'm hoping eventually they do some kind of Konami legacy where maybe they do a little bit of a better job on Frogger. Oh, I got to bring the chat up because there's an interesting comment coming in right now. Mike B, where's your Dig Dug cab? I don't have it yet because we still can't buy it in Canada. I guess we could buy it through Shop Hippo, but then we got to pay ridiculous shipping fees. So, not happening. But I'm waiting to see what happens when cab comes to Canada. Problem I have with that cabinet is 19K Fox has the Pac-Mania, which is the same cabinet. And I got to go back and watch his review, and I've got to see someone who has that cabinet, because with the Mortal Kombat, the screen issue's on this side. So, I mean, as long as the light's on this side, so as long as you're not looking at it from the left, it's not that bad. But with that cabinet, it's turned sideways, and it looks like the light is shining down. But the problem is the up and down, both sides here, are bad both sides. So I as much as I love Dig Dug, I've really, really got to think about that. And I think that's another one that I might wait to see if it ever goes on sale before I pick it up, because I think I would have to do a screen tear out for that one, unfortunately. Otherwise, I love the cabinet. I think it looks amazing. Have someone from the U.S. send it to you. Let me tell you about having people from the U.S. send me Arcade1Up stuff I couldn't get. If you think Arcade1Up shipping to Canada is high, I had a friend a long time ago. I couldn't get risers here in Canada, and I needed a riser for my Street Fighter cabinet. And he went and bought a riser at Walmart for like $30 and then shipped it to me. And by the time it was all done, it cost me $180 to buy a riser. So the shipping for a riser was $150 Canadian for a riser. How much do you think the shipping would be for a cabinet? I think, Swing Machine, you are on the right path here. I think more people will go XL when they're a little bit more comfortable about the screen, and also they have more titles out there that are interesting. Let's be honest, a lot of us are big arcade fanatics, but the sports games aren't really like the key for us. That fits more of downstairs bar and basement, but most of us, like gamers, want to see arcade games in these form factors. We haven't seen that yet. I mean, Killer Instinct will be the first. It wouldn't have been my first choice for a pro cabinet, but once the Street Fighters, Pac-Mans, I know Pac-Man, right? Street Fighters, Pac-Mans, Mortal Kombats, and the more arcadey games start coming out in this form factor, I think there'll be more talk about it. It'll start moving a little bit quicker. Shipping for a pinball, there is a Canadian retailer. I can't get one from the U.S., but there's a Canadian retailer called, I forget what it's called, Level 1 Entertainment, which is actually Cineplex or theaters, and I think it's like $300 or something like that. The shipping is $300 from Ontario to Newfoundland to get a pinball table here, so not that bad. Oh yeah, customs. Man, Blaze, you are not kidding. Customs are an absolute friggin' nightmare. So I'm in total agreement with that, brother. I hear you. Vasil says, honestly, the terrible monitors are the only thing holding me back from getting more cabs this year. If they all had great screens, I'd be all over it like white on rice. We all feel the same way. I think all of us, Vasil, were very caught off guard by the step back in monitor quality on some of these cabs this year. It just sucked. There's no other way to put it. And I think it was kind of out of Arcade1Up's control too, because I think their production moves so quick. They don't really have a lot of time to test this stuff out before it makes it to market. So going on the information they had, they bought a buttload of monitors to do production runs for cabinets. They couldn't get the BOE monitor at the time, or it was more expensive. I don't know the exact reason, but they decided that they were just going to go with whatever monitor they could get at that time that made sense for them. And they went and bought the exact same monitor they used on the first gen, which wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as this monitor we got was. The problem with it was they didn't know the company, even though having the exact same serial number, had changed the way they produced that monitor, and obviously we got what we got, and it sucks. It's terrible. It's dog shit. But, like B. Kong says, it's playable. Make Qbert with a TN monitor. No, don't do that. That's a sin. It's a sin. We need Qbert done properly. Anyways, I'm excited, guys. I can't wait to put these together and test them out in my new area. I already know what I'm getting with Golden Tee. My buddy Mike Dalton had one. It's a funny story. My buddy Mike Dalton had a Golden Tee 3D cabinet, and he ended up getting rid of it. He sold it. He actually traded it for a Legends Ultimate. And then a couple weeks later, he bought a second one. So I've played his Golden Tee cabinet, and it's really good. I played one at the Brick recently. They have one set up in the store for you to check out, and I love the form factor. Like, you go back and look at that. Is it really that bad? I love the XL form factor. I love the size of the cabinet. I love the fact that it doesn't have the riser. It looks more like a real arcade. It's very awesome looking. The only problem, of course, was the screen, and the one at the Brick, unfortunately, there was some kind of wacky issue with the roller, but I'm being told that some of that sensitivity with the roller and stuff like that gets fixed in an update when the cab turns on, and I guess the Brick just never set up the Wi-Fi, so the update wasn't done. So I tell you, I didn't have the exact same problems when playing Mike Dalton's, so that's fine. Hunter's Crack Pipe, Arcade1Up make a lot on Star Wars XL. You are telling me, brother. I agree with that. And I think it's only a matter of time. I talked about this earlier when they first started talking about XL. Everybody started talking about moving their cabs all to XL, and everybody moving to the XL side, and then replacing the cabs they had, and that seemed to wane off a little bit when we saw the screens and a lot of the negativity. Guys like myself, Console Kits, and by negativity I mean honesty we showed and disappointment we showed towards the quality of the screen. So hopefully they rectify that going forward. Even if they can't get BOE 19-inch monitors for all these cabinets, at least find better TN monitors. I mean, we know that the monitor in the iArcade is a 19-inch TN monitor, very close and similar to the monitor Arcade1Up used in their XL cabinets so far. There's just like one decimal place off, and because of that, the lighting in the iArcade monitor is a little bit more stable and covers more of the screen space, so you don't get the same washout you get with the Arcade1Up cabs. Do we think Time Crisis is delayed, or is 1UP just ironing things out, waiting for a proper monitor since it may be XL? I think you're right on that. I think that my opinion has always been Time Crisis is coming, but it's not going to be a 3/4 cabinet. The price point is what's throwing me off. And I can be completely wrong, because 3/4 size arcades are not going away. But for me, with that price point of $7.99, I keep hearing all this feedback that, you know what, guys, Arcade1Up, they hear the feedback. The shooting cabs, the screen's too small. So a 19-inch screen makes so much sense, especially with that price point at $7.99. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just timing and they don't want to release too much, and maybe they can't get it out production-wise. There's some kind of drop dead date where Arcade1Up or any company has to get stuff into the port, or it won't be available all holiday season. So I guess if you follow the shipping data, if it doesn't get there by, I think it's like the end of October, it's not going to be here for the holiday season. So you're going to have to wait till next year. So I got a feeling maybe if they are coming out with a Time Crisis, they got to shit or get off the pot soon. That's all I'll say. Looks like there's a Star Wars coming, a Star Wars re-release. So we should get some shipping data on that soon. Time Crisis is definitely their next shooter, but I don't know if it'll be ready this year. So I want to bring up this comment from MG. So we all agree KI Pro canceled. This is the worst narrative that's out there. Like, guys, listen, KI Pro is going to happen. It's not canceled. For some reason, everybody's trying to, make this a reality. Believe me, KI Pro is happening. It's still happening. It's going to be the first Pro cabinet. Mark my words. If anybody's telling you it's canceled, unless they have some hard data, irrefutable proof that's better than what I got, I will never believe them, especially when I know it's not true. So you can all stop with the KI Pro is canceled. And get ready, because it's going to be very limited and coming from Arcade1Up direct only. So get your money ready. It's going to be $1,000. If you want it, get your $1,000 ready. And it's going to have an awesome screen, really good controls, really good speakers. Get ready. I want to buy a Star Wars, but I pre-ordered the MBC2. Oh, where's this? Brooklyn Menace. And still have to rearrange to fit that. I hear you. I'm having such a struggle with that too, because I've also got Dragon's Lair coming. And I'm struggling now because I got to move something out to fit Dragon's Lair in. And I had made up my mind that I was going to move out X-Men versus Street Fighter and move that into the overflow space. But now I'm leaning towards actually taking out Burger Time and leaving Marvel X-Men vs. Street Fighter in there until I get Marvel vs. Capcom, and then replace, and I'll sell X-Men vs. Street Fighter and just keep Marvel vs. Capcom. So we'll see. I'm in a similar space, Brooklyn Menace. I hate this. I hate not having enough room to get everything I want. Is Star Wars actually confirmed? No, nothing is confirmed, but yeah, I've got a very strong suspicion that we're getting a Star Wars re-release this year. See, Rainwater Games, this is the kind of comments where you're like, man, I'm just having fun and being a friend. And then I read this and I'm like, are you being a friend, buddy? You're almost as confident about KI Pro as you were about Shaq announcing Blitz. Well, I am 100% confident about KI Pro. Now, the Shaq announcing Blitz thing, I got to eat that one on the chin. It just didn't make any sense to me why you would do that announcement on Super Bowl weekend. I've been over this a million times. Obviously, it doesn't make any sense for Shaq to announce Blitz. That would be stupid. But if Shaq is hosting a Super Bowl party during Super Bowl weekend, it seems like a Super Bowl party would be a good time to announce Blitz, and we knew Blitz was coming out. So, that's it. Oh, that's okay. That doesn't make it better. That's like saying, listen, no offense, but I hate your face. What? I said no offense. Louis P, it depends. I have Killer Instinct in 3/4 scale now. Really like it. Really impressed with the job they did on it. I did a review if you want to go check it out. And what I will say is it depends on if it's available here in Canada, because it's going to be expensive. We think that it's going to be $1,000. It's only going to be coming directly from Arcade1Up, and it's hard for me where I'm in Canada to order directly from Arcade1Up. If I was in the US, I would tell you right now, yeah, I'm going to get Killer Instinct Pro. It's the first Pro cabinet from Arcade1Up. I want to see what it's like. My FOMO won't let me not get it, but where I'm here in Canada, I've got to order directly. So on top of my cost of buying the cabinet directly from 1UP, I'm also going to have to pay ludicrous shipping. Like, we're talking probably $200 Canadian in shipping, and then on top of that, I'm going to have to pay tax and duty, which is another $200 to $300. So, like, I mean, it's going to kill me. Like, I hate your face. You didn't say LOL console kits. There it is. But I still like to poke and prod Michael B. That's okay. Guys, I like to have fun. So anyways, guys, that's really my story tonight. I had an opportunity to get a review cab, and I went out of my way to get the Shaq NBA Jam cab for a couple of reasons. One is, like, there's not a bunch of reviews out there. And, with that opportunity, and then being able to get Golden Tee as well at a good price, like being able to pick those up at a lower price. If there's things I don't like about the cabinets, I can change them out. I never want to have to mod a cabinet, ever. I don't think we should have to, but like stuff about the side artwork, I was very critical on the side artwork for the NBA Jam XL cab. I still am. I'm going to be very honest with about that. I don't understand the Shaq partnership. I mean, realistically, when you're talking about NBA Jam, Shaq was only in the first NBA Jam, if I'm not mistaken. I got to go back and play the other ones. I don't know if he was in the other two. And, Shaq doesn't really resonate with NBA Jam for me. Now, Showtime, that'd be a different story. So, putting Shaq on the side, I didn't really understand the partnership. I don't know how many more NBA Jams it would actually sell. I didn't get it. And especially where this was going to be the first announced XL cabinet, it just seemed like you were spitting in the face of the arcade community by not putting the right art on it. Now, I get it. Arcade1Up's weird like that. They don't want to put the same art on multiple cabinets. They always want to change the art. We're starting to see this now as we see, Street Fighter, bunches of iterations of Street Fighter come out. They usually try to change up the art. They don't like to have the same art on multiple cabinets, but I think with some, especially when you're changing the form factor, going from a 3/4 scale to an XL, it's fine to do that. So, thank you very much for the sticker. Endless 1UP, $2 super sticker. I appreciate it, brother. Arcade Fury, once you go XL or Pro, you will start to consider collecting some original vintage full-size arcades. See, the problem with that statement, brother, is you think I haven't already considered that. And a lot of people forget that about me in this hobby is I live on the world's smallest island off the coast of Canada. And the home arcade scene doesn't exist here. There are no real arcades. Like when I went to Chicago, I was telling people and they were like, is this arcade like bigger than the ones you have home? I was like, the arcades we have home are non-existent. There are none here. There's nowhere for me to go to play arcades. I have to find a local collector hoping they might have an arcade cabinet. And then if you check our buy and sells, it's non-existent. There are no arcades here. There was one pinball machine for like the last year. That's it. So, for me, like, if I didn't have Arcade1Up or options like that, there would just be no arcade collecting unless I had a lot of money and I was willing to ship things in from the mainland. So, there we go. Oh, my wife, I forgot to tell this part of the story. A lot of people are asking, what did your wife say when she saw those two cabs coming? Believe me, I already explained it to her, already covered it. I know people think for some reason it's weird and not masculine, like you shouldn't have to explain to your wife, but obviously these are big financial purchases and I'm not going to make them without talking to my wife first. So my wife was well aware these were coming, well aware where they were going. Everything's cool there. Nothing to worry about. Oh man, do I ever think about moving to the US? That's like pretty much the only thing me and Robert Foxworth, I did it again, doxed him. That's the only thing me and Fox talked about like the entire last day we were there. I would love to move to the US. Like everything is so accessible. Like, you know, for me to drive just to another province here in Canada, I mean, I have to drive 13 hours across the island I live on, get on a ferry for 8 hours, and then, I'm at the tip of Nova Scotia in order to get to New Brunswick, for example, where my wife went to law school. There's another 8-hour drive. So it's so prohibitive for me to do anything. The idea of living somewhere in the States with all the amazing like food and entertainment you have, sports, just the ability to go anywhere at any time, being able to hop in the car and just drive across the States, like it's been a dream of mine my whole life. I don't know if we'll ever get a chance. When are you shipping full cabs from the US? I'm safe, Justin, I promise. I tell my wife about every purchase, LOL. I do tell my wife about every purchase. I do now anyways. Also, unlike Canada, you aren't compelled to say things you don't believe. I don't know what that means. Buy a pontoon boat. That's not a bad idea. Star Wars or Attack from Mars? What should I get next? Josh, that's an excellent question. I will tell you, I really like my Williams Arcade1Up Attack from Mars pinball. I'm very happy with it, but there are definitely some issues with it. I mean, Pinball FX is not easy to get running. I have it on a virtual machine here on my Legends Pinball, and even then, you got to get a pretty powerful computer. So they had to make some pretty serious concessions on the experience when putting it on the chipset that plays on the Arcade1Up pinball. So, the games all seem to work very well. It's on a 24-inch screen, and the picture quality is pretty poor, but the machine build itself is amazing. The haptics are really good. It looks like a great pinball cabinet. I can't say enough about the build quality. It's just the screen and the game quality might let you down a little bit. When it comes to Star Wars, the new Star Wars 3/4 scale release coming out, possibly re-release, that game's so friggin' good. But I would advise you to try to play it first, make sure it's something for you. I love it. If you have arcade experience with it and like you're going to love it as much as I do, yeah, absolutely go with Star Wars. I don't know what's going to be harder to get because I don't know if Arcade1Up's going to do any more pinball. So once pinball's done, pinball might be done. That's a hard question to ask. I advise you to, if you possibly can, try both ahead of time. It's so hard to ask. I'm the wrong person to ask for this kind of advice for anyways, because my answer is buy everything. and then see what happens. Oh, that's the other thing me and Fox talked about, Charlie Chuck. It's thank you very much for the super chat, by the way, brother. I appreciate it, Josh. Very much so. Sorry I couldn't answer your question better than that. I think if Star Wars re-releases, I would jump on that because I don't know how many they're going to be, and I don't know how many they're going to be around, and it's hard to get. But then again, the Williams pinball tables, I don't know how much longer they're going to be there. All right, so Charlie Chuck asked me a question. I just got to go back and find it. Charlie, where is your comment? Canadians just can't move to the U.S. That is the truth. My sister-in-law lived in the U.S. for over 10 years, going to the Manhattan School of Performing Arts, and did everything in her power to get a work visa to use the skills she learned in the U.S. to continue her art journey of performing arts in the U.S. as an opera performer. And she was denied at every step of the way, and is now back here in Canada. And dreams crushed for no reason at all, just because they wouldn't give her a visa because, I don't know, she did everything right and still couldn't get in, so it makes no sense. The only thing she didn't do was marry a U.S. citizen, which would have got her in right away. ALP has been better than expected. That's right, the At Games Legends Pinball is pretty much a dream come true, not just because of their own pinball. Their own pinball is good, all the options, the extra stuff you can buy with it, but the fact of just using it as a pass-through, as almost like a controller for visual pinball and for Pinball FX3 running from a PC, I mean, that's mainly what I do in my At Games Legends Pinball now. I went out and bought a second computer. I've got it hooked up to my Legends Pinball, and that's where I'm playing visual pinball. That's where I'm playing Pinball FX3 all the time, 100%. Little late, Zohar. Actually, if I ever showed you her, you wouldn't stop talking about her. She's beautiful. Honestly, beautiful. Of course, she looks like my wife. Of course, she's beautiful. So, yeah, a couple of years ago, definitely. And then Rainwater Games says he'll get ordained and he can marry you guys. So maybe I'll talk to her about it. She's seems like she's got a pretty serious thing going with a guy from Australia now. So we'll see. Sathius, how's it going? I am doing excellent. I got 2 cabs came to the door this morning, and when I finish up this show tonight, I'm going to try to at least finish building the NBA Jam. I'm also really excited about this. I've built over 30 Arcade1Up cabinets yet, and this is the first time it's really, really been new and exciting. Like, there's no riser in this box. That's so weird to me. And the new form factor, the way it goes together, especially the NBA Jam, like, you got to build the base first, and then you build the top, and then you put it on. So it's been fun trying to put it together. I guess you have to come here illegally to get a green card. No, there's ways to get in. Like, the biggest way for me to get in would be I would have to be approached by an American company offering me employment. And then part of the process is they would pay for my visa in. Like, I think that's how it works. So I've always had the dream of applying to WWE to be some kind of writer or something like that, working with talent relations, and they would pay for me to move to the States, and then I would figure out some way to convince my wife that she needed to come as well. Never going to happen, though. How tall is the control deck on that? I don't know yet, but from what I hear from the people who have it, they say the control deck's about the same size as the old control deck. I will tell you one thing I did notice with Golden Tee 3D when I was over to my buddy Mike Dalton's is I sit on a stool now primarily to play most of these arcade games, and when I was sitting on the stool in the Golden Tee, my knees were actually cramped underneath the stool, underneath the control panel, so I'll get back to you on that. Jaster Mariel, I'm not on here much recently because there's no cabs coming that I want. I know, Jaster, it's been tough. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Arcade1Up have actually slowed down production a ton in the last little while, and they've focused on mainly every year coming out with their Evergreen line. So we've had the Legacy Edition cabs, which are the same cabs every year. If you're not interested in replacing yours, there's not a lot of stuff there. And then if this year, I mean, there's very, very few releases and very specific releases. So Dragon's Lair, that was the big one for me this year. I love the classic 80s stuff. Then there were some really big releases, but they were later 90s releases. So unless you're in that time period, you probably not in love with a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or a Blitz. They're really late, more advanced arcade games, so I completely get it. You might have wanted to put an LOL after that comment, Rainwater. What did he say? I got to go back and see. Problem is you're coming from Canada. If you come from Mexico, you can just swim across the river and then you will pay to go to college and give you a house. See, yeah, you might want to put an LOL there. I don't understand the terminology behind that. I'm not going to get involved in that. All I know is my poor sister-in-law worked her ass off to become a U.S. citizen to do her craft, and she never got in, and it breaks my heart. Here's 1/4000th toward the pinball. Thank you so much, Rates Retrocade. It's coming. It's coming soon. The other thing, too, is I put my post up today, and people were giving me a little bit of a hard time. They were like, what's with the buying toys, like these toy arcades, when you know you got a pinball coming? I will tell you, this was well worked out in advance before the pinball ever came into the situation. So this didn't affect my pinball budget, I promise. Scott, she's actually dating someone from Australia now. She spent a month down there earlier this summer. He seems like a really nice guy. He's here again now. The funny thing she told me is in Australia, they actually don't insulate their houses, which I found fascinating. And I don't know if it's because of the climate where, it's so warm there all year and your summers are our winters. But apparently you don't put insulation in your walls in Australia. So it's very uncommon to find a house that has insulation. And I find that really strange, especially, we live here in Canada. You have to insulate everything. So, wow. Well, that's another rumor, too. Brooklyn Menace says, took my wife over 15 years to become a citizen. Yeah, that's nuts. Scott James says, not true. Okay, maybe that was from her limited experience. So the houses are insulated. Is this just a weird thing for a certain region, maybe? I don't know. Sathia says, the problem I have is I want a lot of cabs, but I have no room for any. The only cab I own is Arcade1Up Star Wars and AtGames Legends Ultimate. Yeah, listen, that's the thing. If I didn't have room, we'd be having very different conversations here. No, it's not your fault at all, console fanboy. No, not at all. Thank you so much, Tansy. I appreciate the super chat, brother. I don't know if I'm the best, but I'm happy to be involved in this community around so many good people. I suppose this is my first chillin' chat since I got home. I've got 2 minutes left. I should just spend a little bit of time telling you guys I had so much fun in Chicago, and I'm home, and I'm happy to be around my family. It was so hard being away from them, but I'm so anxious to go again. So we started talking to the guys about a potential Vegas trip. Then we started talking about CES. The only problem with CES is where it's so close to Christmas, the flights are like exorbitant in order to get there early enough to get to CES. So I don't know if that's going to work. But another thing I'm working on right now is I've got a business trip, a work trip, where I'm going to Ottawa at the end of October. So I'm trying to convince the guys to come to the Canada side because Nostalgia is only about 6 hours away. So he can drive there. And then we'd all meet up in Ottawa. There's a really cool pinball arcade there. We can go to that. There's lots of fun bars, restaurants. I can get the guys some poutine. And then we can also go have some beaver tails, which are delicious pastry type things. It'll be a blast. So I'm trying to convince some people there. I know Kongs R Us. I had a really good time. Kongs R Us, you got to come to Canada, brother. Someone's got to be there. Charlie Chuck, you should come. If we're in Ottawa, man, you can come down. I'm trying to actually get out to see the Senators versus the Wild while I'm there too. Isn't Ottawa all underground? No, it's not underground. Don't worry about that. Gets as low as 0 degrees Celsius in winter in Melbourne. Definitely need insulation to keep heat in. I'm going to ask her about this tomorrow. There we go. Elgin Street Diner. There we go, Joey Hansen. Ottawa. Where at, bro? Ottawa, Ontario. Ottawa's the capital city. So I'll give you guys some more information. Stringer Films, $2 super chat. You're the second best, Michael B. I appreciate it. Pliskin's Run, come to Ohio. You don't know how bad I've wanted to come to Ohio. I grew up a Cleveland Indians fan. I know now that they're the Cleveland Guardians. I actually just ordered my first Cleveland Guardians hat just yesterday. So that's on the way from Lids. So I do want to get there. I want to go to Jacobs Field. Is it called Progressive Field now? I don't really know. So, I would love to come to Ohio. I've got a really good friend there, Ed T1138 too, where I've always wanted to meet up with. So Ohio's on my list. Canada has several cities, believe it or not. Nice, Charlie Chuck. Definitely. Okay, I'll send you the information too. I think a tool from our Canadian group wants to go as well. I got wrecked in Ottawa. LOL. You should hit Toronto. I wish I could, but I'm on a work trip, so I can't really go. So I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, but we'll talk more about this. I'm trying to arrange this because Nostalgia got left out of all the fun we had while we were in Chicago, and I feel bad. I would love to set something up that he could pretty easily come to, and then we could all hang out. So that's my goal right now. I did. I love Major League the movie. That's why I was a big Cleveland fan. Pedro Serrano, Wild Thing Rick Vaughn, all those guys. I'm trying to remember the rest of the names now. The guy who played Corbin Burnson's character on third base that Wild Thing Rick Vaughn slept with his wife. Spoilers. Anyways, I'll leave it there. Love seeing you so happy in Chicago. Heartwarming. Thank you so much, Chester. I had such a good time. I'm having a really good time. I really enjoyed meeting the guys, and I'm sad. I want to hang out with them more. I'm feeling remorse from being home and missing the guys. Anyways, I don't want to keep you any longer than that. There's other things for you to do. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am going out. I gotta bring this up. Prince Malcolm, oh gosh, the iPhone autocorrect is repulsive. He meant poutine, but it came up as poutang. That's funny. Jobu! F you, Jobu, I do it myself. Willie Mays Hayes, Wesley Snipes, Kongzar Ross knows. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful night. I'm gonna go put my XL cabs together. Omar Epps was part 2. I'm going to put my NBA Jam cab together, hopefully my Golden Tee, so expect some coverage on that in the coming days. I'll probably do like a live play and stuff. Otherwise, have fun, be young, drink Pepsi. Thank you so much for tuning in to Chill and Chat with Michael B.